Hi guys, welcome you back to my channel. It's your girl partner. So it's good to be here again, and I hope you guys are all doing great. Once again, I want to say very thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you guys so much for always supporting my channel. Thank you guys for always stopping by. I appreciate you a lot. And if you're new to this channel for the first time, you're welcome. Please also go ahead and subscribe as well. Okay, remember to turn your bell notification bells on. Okay, because that's the only way you get notified every single time I upload my weekly videos. So getting started on today's tutorial, here I have this pattern I created in my previous video, okay, on how to show you how to cut out an underbust cut Basque waistline, okay, pattern. And here it is. This two piece here is for the underbust cut, the upper part, and here is the waistline, the Basque waistline pattern, okay. And I also showed you a second method, two different methods. But if you didn't want to use this upper part, this is the princess and that pattern, you can also make use of this regular breast cut pattern as well, okay. So these are two different methods, and of course here is also the back piece as well. So please guys, go ahead and watch this video, okay. Better understand. It's very detailed, and like I said, I made sure I broke it down very easy for you to understand, okay. So I'm linking it in the description box, so please go ahead and watch it, okay. And also remember, when we are creating this back pattern, I said that um I didn't put a zip allowance because I'm going to be using a loop instead of a zipper. So there was no 2 inches zip allowance. Instead, I'm still going to take off 2 inches from this back pattern. And so if you can see here, I have here drawn out 2 inches mark. That is this straight line you're seeing. So all I'm going to do is to cut through this mark here, okay. And also for a loop, you can make it in two ways. You can either make it straight or you can make it slanted. That's why I have this slanted line here. So I would like to go for to create this slanted. All I did was to come to the lower part of this pattern. I just went inwards by 1 inch and connected it to this upper part as well. So I'm going to cut through this line here, setting this aside. So this I'm going to use for the back piece, okay, for the loop, okay, having in mind that all this pattern here are on fold. Meanwhile, this is the fabric I'm going to be working with today in order to make this a Basque waistline dress using this pattern that we have created. So this, I'm making use of this lace fabric, and here I also have the plain satin I'm going to be used to line it because of the transparency of this lace. So this, then for the back waistline, that's for this one, this piece, I'm going to be using this plain stretching fabric for only this part, and this part I'll be putting in a bone in there. So I'll be creating a bone casing here, and also be fixing my bone in here, and also a bit on the back side as well. So this I'm going to use for this back effect, and this is a scuba fabric, okay. And this also, I have a lining here as well. Then also I'll be making use of this net. The net will be for the sleeve, and also in creating a draping on the front part of the skirt, okay. Yes, so trust me, it's not as difficult as it sounds, okay. I know there's a lot of fabric here, but it's quite easy, I must tell you that. So just make sure you stay tuned to the end of this tutorial, because I'm going to take you through the process, and it's going to be a quite interesting one. I am so looking forward to the end of this dress. I can't wait to see the outcome, okay. And so that will be it. So what I'm going to do now is to take this pattern, and I'm going to be cutting it out, cut them out from this fabric. So I'm going to cut out from this my plain satin, and also the lace fabric, and also the lining, okay, for this upper part. Then after that, then I would show you how to cut out the skirt, okay. So let me just go cut this all out. So here I have cut out the pieces using the pattern, okay. It's a lot of pieces here. Here is the lining, and I also ironed out my interfacing on it. Here is for the front piece, and here is the satin. I'm also going to cut out the lace, because this one, the lace is going to be on it. I'm going to do that as well. So if you notice, I also iron my interfacing here, and there is there's a wording on the bust part, okay, to create the bust effect. Then this is it for the bust part as well. Also iron interfacing there, and also the wording. Then here is the for the back piece, both the satin and the lining. I have it all ready. I have the interfacing alongside with it, so you can see this, and also the lining as well. Okay, so what is left now is to just go cut out the from the main fabric, that's the lace fabric. Okay, just to place it on this plain satin. Okay, that's it. So so what I will do now is to go use these linings I have cut alongside. I'm just going to join this part together, then use the lining to turn it all out. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So the next thing I'll be showing you now is to cut out the lower part of this dress, okay, which is the skirt part. Okay, so here in cutting out the skirt part of this dress, I'll be marking it on the plain fabric. After that, I'll transfer it to this to the lace. Okay. So taking note of the full measurement of the dress, which is 61. Then I take away the half length of 17 for the upper part of the dress, 17 half length. So what I'm left with is 44. Okay, so I'm just going to add just 1 inch allowance for the hemming allowance, that's at the upper part. I'm not going to add in for the lower part, okay, because I'm not going to be hemming the lower part of this dress. Because of this, it has trimming, so I'm going to leave this trimmings there. So what I have here now is the length of I'm working with, which is 45. So coming up here, which is the starting point, I will mark my waist measurement of 31. If I divide it by 4, I have 7.75. So I'll mark that. Then I'm going to add an extra 3 inches of allowance. From here to here is the hip line. Okay, so I'm marking the hip measurement here now, which is 41 divided by 4, that's 10.25, plus an extra 3 inches of allowance. So I'll just connect it this way. So I'll go down to the lower part of the dress. I'm going to also impute my hip measurement here, which is 10.25 plus the extra 3 inches of allowance. Then I'll go inwards because I want it to be a pencil skirt. So I'm going to go inwards by say 1.5 or 2 inches. So I'll do 2 inch. So I'm coming back inwards by 2 inches now. So what I'll do now is to take it from my hip line here, connect it to straight down to the floor length. Before I cut this out, I would like to place it on the back piece so that I can just cut everything all through together. So placing this over the back piece, you can see I have a space for the zipper allowance, so I can now cut through. So from this center point, I'm going to mark the bust bar measurement of 4 and notch it for my dart. So that's it. So what is that? I'm just going to slit this back. I'm going to slit open this back piece. So here it is. You can see. So what is left now is to place it on the lace fabric and cut this all out. So in cutting out this lace, using the plain pattern to cut out the lace, you can see the lower part, I folded this lace in such a way that these trimmings are matching up. If you understand what I mean. this trimming are matching up, and I also put the plain fabric at this edge, not at the end of the trimming, no, but where you have the lowest edge here. So this is where it's supposed to end. Okay, so these ones will just protrude out more, so I put it at this edge. And like I said, these trimmings have to match up. I even held it down with a pin. It shouldn't be just anyhow fold. Okay, you can see if you put anyhow fold, you see that the linings are not properly aligned at the end. So you need to match it up in such a way that these edges, like you have this bold edge, it's matching up to the next bold edge. So if you can't get it, then you have to keep moving your fabric forward, so which sometimes can consume a little bit more than what you should already have. I hope you understand that. Okay, so that's it. And like I said, the lining was supposed to be shorter than the main waist, but after using it to cut it out, so what I did now is to take off about 1 inch. I said you can take off 2 to 3 inches, but I'm taking off 1 inch because I'm going to still fold the end of this plain fabric. I'm still going to hem the bottom inside to about 1 inch thereabout. So I'm just taking off 1 inch from this the lower part. So I'll trim it out. So by the time you have it inside, it will not be totally at the edge. Okay, yes. So I'll use the remaining lace now to cut out the upper piece, the leftover upper piece. I'll use the leftover. I needed to cut out the skirt part first, okay, before I can now cut for the upper piece. So I'll do that now. So here I'm done cutting out the upper piece. So and what I did is to also hold it down with a pin. Okay, this makes life easy. Okay, so holding it down so that when I'm sewing it, it will not be moving around. So I have it all in place. So what I'll do now is just to go sew all this up with the lining and turn it out with the lining and also the skirts. Okay, yeah. So setting this aside, so what is left now is this basque. So I have the pattern, and I said I'm using this stretchy fabric, this scuba. So I'm just placing my pattern on it, have it folded into two because the pattern was cut as unfold. So I'm folding my fabric into two now, and I'm placing my basque pattern on it. So what I'm going to do, I just give a little bit of allowance. Okay, can always trim out the excesses afterwards. So I'll just cut this through. So this is it. So this is what I'll be using. So I'm going to also cut out another piece of this. Um, I'll be using to line it as well. So I'm using the same wood to line it. So it's on this box that I'll be fixing in my boning. Okay, so that's it, guys. We're done with all the cutting except for the sleeve, which I'll do maybe when I'm later on when I'm done with the joining of the parts of the dress. I'll do that much later. Okay, So what is left now is to just go, like I said, turn this all up with the lining and the skirt part, and I will come back to show you the next step. Okay, so guys, I'm done using the lining to turn this part together. And so here is a lot of pieces here. So here, this is the skirt. I actually fixed the dart on the plain fabric, the satin itself. Okay, not I fixed the dart first before using it to turn the lace. So that's what I did. So this is the skirt, and for the back, the upper part of this dress, I've joined the sides together, although I've not really joined to use it to turn the main fabric. So here is for the lining for the front part and for the back piece, and here is the back piece itself. So here the back piece, this is it, and also here is the front piece. So I'm still going to use lining to turn this out, but I needed to point out something to you. Remember, when we are creating the pattern, like the pattern we drafted, which I have linked in this description box, okay? So the part of the, when we are cutting out the armhole parts, we're drafting out on the armhole part, I usually extend that side to about 1.5 or 2 inches. Okay, so this is the reason why we do that. Okay, so like I said, on this armhole side, it's always important to extend it so that by the time you finish joining it, because of this curve, you will see that it will sometimes match up, sometimes you have excesses to trim out. So as you can see here now, you can see the difference. So here now it's like a 1 inch difference, even though we added I think 1.5 or 2 inches. So all I need to do now is just to trim this all out and match it up to create a proper armhole here. Okay, you can see on the other side the difference is about 1.5 inch difference. Okay, so that's why it's always important to extend that part. Okay, then coming down to this, the lower part, having in mind that this is going to be an underbust cut, right? So the joining this part to the lower part, that's the basque, it has to be directly under the bust cut. So now what I will do is, having in mind that the underbust measurement of this person is 14, so if I place 14 at this underbust, as you can see my cup is standing this way now. Okay, so it's obvious here is the underbust, so I'll just place my 14 inches mark here. Okay, I'll place my 14 inches mark, and I'll mark out 1 inches. I'll mark out 1 inches or even 3/4 inches. Okay, from that, so the remaining part here, I'm going to trim it all out. So I remember when we were creating this pattern, I had to add an extra allowance. Okay, like I always say, it's better you have excesses to trim out than to have shortages or run into problem. So all I'm going to take out from here now, after placing my 40 inches plus the extra, let's say 3/4 inch, I'll be trimming out about 2 inches here. So I'm just going to trim out this part. Okay, I'm going to trim it all out, then I'll be left with the only allowance I will use to join it to the lower part, which after joining it, it will be sitting directly under the bust. Okay, yes, and the same thing for the back piece as well. So for this back piece, you can see I will still have some excesses to trim down. So at this point, the starting point at the 6 inches mark here, if I get my half length of 17, so here I have 17, and I add extra half of an inch, which I'll be using to join it to the lower part, that's the skirt part. So I'll have about 1 inch to trim out from. Okay, so remember when we were creating the pattern, I think I added about 2 inches or 2.5 inches extra. Okay, so now I'm going to be trimming out 1 inches. Okay, so it is always important, have your excesses as much as 1.5 or 2 inches, so at the end of the day you just trim out your excesses. Okay, so that's it. So what I will do next is just to now take all this lining, after the trimming out all the excesses, then I can take my lining and turn it, up properly. But for this back piece, remember also that we are fixing a loop here, so I need to create my loop. And for here, I would like to make use of this bias tape. I mean, it's better to work with, but then again, I'm a little bit not decisive because of the shade. There's a little bit difference in the color shade. Okay, so I might end up using the main satin itself. Okay, so I need to create a very long strip of loop with this plain fabric. So which means I'll be cutting out, say, like 2 inches. Say I cut out 2 inches. Let me demonstrate it. About 2 inches here. This is just a demonstration. So if I cut out like 2 inches from my plain fabric, so what I will do is to go turn it up. I'll fold it this way, fold it this other way, and this way. So I'm going to be sewing it all up. So by the time I'm done sewing it all up, I will have a very long strip looking like this, 80 to even 100 inches. Yeah. Once I have the very long strip, then I would now, for the loop, I will just take the back piece. So in creating the loop for this one, but what I will do is, this is the starting point here. Remember, I'm not going to turn the line. I have to fix this loop before I turn this back piece with the lining. So I'm going to be marking half of an inch away. I'm also marking half an inch before the end. Okay, so the half an inch at the top will be for sewing it up with the lining. Then the half an inch below will be to joining it to the lower part of the dress. So from these 2 points in between, I will just create a space to fix my loop. So if I take, for instance, what I have in between here, I have, say, like 9.5. So I can just fix my loop, say 1 inch difference or 1.5 inch difference. So let's assuming I'm taking 1 inch difference. 1 inch difference. So that means I probably have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe have about 9 loops to create, or you can do 1.5 inches, depending on what you want. So I'm just going to cut out like 3 inches here, 3 inches or 3.5 inches. So if I cut out 3 inches, this is how I'll fold it into two. 3 inches, I'll fold it into two like this. I'm just using this pin to hold it because I'm not sewing it, I'm just illustrating this. So when I fold it into two, I'll place it here and run a stitch. So at every point I mark to place my loop, I'll be placing each of the 3 inches. I'll fold it into two like this. I'll have it as much of the loop that I want to have. Okay, so once I'm done, then I can now use my lining to sew up this side. So after sewing it up and turning it to the other side, the loop will be standing out this way. Can you see this? Okay, so this is how it goes. So the same thing you do here, you're also going to do it for the other side as well. The same thing. Okay, so you have your loop all pointed out when you're done. Okay, so the remaining long strip will now be what you will use for the tie up. Yes, you'll be using it for the tie up. Okay, so that's it for this. Then the next one will be for the backs. So my backs here, I just get the center point, I notch it, then I will mark. I'll check the for the front piece, you check the dart point, just making it align with what you have on the lower part. So what I have here, I have 6.5 inches interval on this lower part. So that means on this, from this center point, I will just mark out 3.2 here, mark out 3.2 here, so that the dart can also match up with what I have on the upper part. Okay, I hope you understand that. So that is it. So I'm start fixing my loop at the center by that side, which is okay. Then if I want to fix more, I can put extra, let's say about 1 inch apart or 2 inches apart, extra one by the side. I cut out 1.5 inch strip of this. So I'm just going to place it on the lines of creating the loop. I'll place it this way. When I sew up, I'll turn it to the other side like this. Can you see this? Fold the other edge inside and sew it all up. So at the end of the day, I'll be having something like this. Can you see? So this is how I'm going to do it for every single part. I will be creating my casing. Okay, it's that simple. So once that is done, then I will be able to join it to the upper part of the suit. When I'm done joining it with the upper part of the dress, I can now fix in my boning. Okay, so that's it. Then also for the back piece, I also forgot to mention I'll also be creating um a casing too. But for the back piece, I'm not going to be making it visible. I'll be creating it from the inside. So what you'll be seeing on the outside is just the threading. Okay, so I'll be creating a loop depending on, you can fix one is enough, you can do one, you can do two, creating the boning loop as well at the back piece. So that's it, guys. So what I will do now is just to go finish all this up. I've explained, trim off the excesses, you know, fixing my boning, and also create my loop and fix it all up. Okay, so I'll just go finish that up, and of course I'll come back to show you the next step. So yeah, guys, this is the back piece. Like, this back piece is good to go. The only thing left now is to, put over the front piece and join the sides with the sleeve. So you can see the loop has been created, the zipper. Then the lower part, I went up by about 18 inches from the lower length. I went up 18 inches to create this slit here. Okay, so this is it. And for the loop, I told you earlier on, I used 2 inches. So 2 inches I cut out and folded this way. So I used 3.5 inch to create this. Then the leftover I'll be using for the tie. By the time the person wears it all and the tie sits, then any excesses, if it's so much, then we can trim out the excesses. So if you notice on this back piece as well, you could barely notice any stitch here. There's actually a bone in here, so I fixed it from the inside. Okay, because the client doesn't want it to be visible, so I had to fix it from the inside. So if you look closely, you only see the stitch which is matching with the fabric, so you could barely see. So there are two bones on this back piece and on the other side. So this back piece is good to go, and for the front piece, here it is. And you can see as well, I've fixed in the backs. So she also doesn't want, this is the back piece, you see the boning effect here. She doesn't want this part to be visible as well. Okay, so I had to turn it the other way around, which is the more reason why it's important to line it with the same fabric. And the next thing now is to place it on the lower part. Now we are going to cut out the back's effect on this lower part as well. So what I'll do now is to place it over it and have this edge, which is the from here to here is the waistline effect. Okay, so I'm going to match it up at the top. I'm more like overlapping this. So what I'll do now is to draw out the line. So what I'm going to do now is to cut out this shape. So this is going off. So here it is. So what I will do now is to I'll go fold this one in by half of an inch. You can see I'll fold it in together with the lining half of an inch inwards, and I will hem it neatly. Okay, fold it half of an inch inwards and hem it neatly at the edge. Then after that, I will place this over it, just directly at the tip of it. I'll place this over it and also stitch on it. Stitch on it this way. After that, then I'll be using this net to, create my draping. Okay, I have to do that first before I, join it to the back side. So let me go fold this in and stitch this on it. Okay, yeah. So yeah, guys, I'm done fixing the backs. So you can see, initially I said I was going to fix it on the plain side. That's the plain part, because that's what my clients wanted. So after doing that, I don't know, for some reason, maybe because of the fabric or something, it wasn't really giving me um, the fitting effect. Like, it wasn't really looking so, nice. This part was better off. This boning effect also has its own vibe it gives to the dress, right? So this was looking much better. Okay, so hopefully I'll be able to convince her that this was the best option. Okay, so that's it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is, now I would after fixing in my drape, which I would show you afterwards, I'm going to place this on the sleeve. That's the back piece. I'm going to be joining it now. You can see. Then I'll take the measurement of the sides. But before that, I'm going to fix a sleeve. Okay, so here I have this piece of length. It's going to be a long sleeve with ruffle on the edge, and the long sleeve length, the length of the sleeve is 26. So I want the length of the ruffle to be about 6 inches. So the length of the basic sleeve is going to be 20. So I'll add half inch to join in at the upper part and the lower part. That's, I'm going to be cutting a 21-inch basic sleeve, which I have linked in the description box. Okay, the round sleeve of the ankle is 11 inches. You have to multiply by, say, 3 inches. Okay, to create a full ruffle effect. So I'll be attaching it to the lower part of the sleeve when I cut that out. Okay, but before the final joining, then I'll also at this point create my my draping here. So my leftover piece of net here, I have it folded into two. I think I have it about folded into two. I have about say 32 inches. Okay, and it's a length of 60. So I'm going to start folding it from, let's say, from the underbust, not directly underbust, say about, say, like 2 inches away from the underbust. I'm going to have it, you arrange it this way. Okay, it doesn't have a specific pattern, just something you can carefully, create by yourself. Just have it centered, at both edge, then place it from your starting point here. While doing this, you might need to hold this down with a pin. Okay, but I'm just giving you, I just, so that you see how it's done. Once you hold it down with a pin, then you start creating your, that's creating the draping effect by doing more like a pleat. You see me taking this, dragging it all the way up. Okay, this is how you keep doing this till you get to the length. Now ideally at the hip length is okay. Okay, so you keep doing this till you get to the length. So after holding it on one side, you can start doing it from this side, at one side first. Start folding it this way. I'm just going to carefully do this later, okay, but I need to just show you how it's done. You have an idea. So here, from this point here, not directly on that bust, just like a little bit, like 2 inches away from this under bust, that's my starting point. Then I'll end it at the hip side. So I'll just carefully pleat this side. As I'm doing it, I'll be holding it down with a pin, okay? So when I'm done with this side, I will move to the other side and just follow the same trend, okay, and stop it down. Okay, so to make it have a little bit of V effect, okay. So once I'm done holding it on both ends, I can just drag the inside. You can see me dragging the inside this way. Okay, yes, you can see me dragging the inside this way. So it will have that a little bit of V effect like this. Okay, yeah. So that's it. It's quite easy to do and straightforward, but just have to be careful so that you have it all properly aligned. Okay, so once that is done, you can take off the pin and run a stitch to hold it down on both sides, then trim off the edges. Okay, yes. So after that is done, I can now place my back piece over it and take my final measurement, and that will be it, guys. This outfit to be ready. So I'll just go finish all this up, then of course I'll show you the final look of this beautiful dress. Okay, yeah. And here, guys, this dress is ready. Just like I anticipated, this red turned out to be a very gorgeous one. This is so beautiful. So if you look closely, you will see that I changed the color of the net. So there were two shades actually. Initially, I wanted to use the lighter version. So, but when I looked at it closely after pinning it down, I realized it wasn't really giving me what I want. So I had to use this darker version, which turned out to be very, very lovely. Okay, and I also used the net to line the parts where you have the boning. Yes, so to really make it blend properly. Yeah. So this turned out so beautiful. This is lovely. So guys, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Thank you so much guys for watching. Please guys, if you find this video helpful, please help me to share my videos. Give me a giant thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. I will appreciate you a lot. Please, guys, I'm on my knees. Help me share my videos. Like this is the only little way I really get, inspired and encouraged to keep doing more. It's actually a lot. There's a lot going into making this video and trying to be consistent every single week. So, guys, I really appreciate you guys for all you've been doing. Please help me also share this video so that it will go out there more. Okay, thank you so much again for watching. I really appreciate. I really do. I can't thank you guys enough. Till I see you on the next one, have a beautiful day.